Okay, I have Connecticon this weekend. People have been requesting more South Park videos, and I have to take 4 trains to get to Hartford. I need an easy topic I can work on during the commute. South Park random character generator, take me away!
What have I done?
I guess you're probably a little surprised to see me.
It isn't right! Make it go away!
Aw, Stitch. Fine, I can work with this. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about South Park, or more specifically, 2 characters you might be familiar with. Steve and Chris, and his wife Linda. Stotch. The Stotches. I think this is the first time I've actually given them their own video, and not just use them to make a point or a comparison. Okay, intros aside, I'm sure you probably know a lot about these 2 a-holes. I don't have to do that much. I don't have to prattle on. Nope, no padding, no filler, no artificially lengthening this video to churn out every cent I can. Incomprehensibility. So, let's discuss. Stephen, Chris, and Linda are among some of the most despised parents in South Park, if not animation overall, and I have made several videos on this principle alone. Seriously, I think Linda paid for my tuition. I'm surprised Mr. Enter hates Buck Cluck and not these 2 weirdos, especially with how often they ground their son, usually for no reason. However, even evil people have their good days, sort of. Normally, they call these types of moments Pet the Dog, where the character, who is normally a villain or an anti-hero, has a small chance to do something good or kind, if to prove to the viewer they can be human, or at the very least deserve some sympathy. Sympathy? One of those 2. So I wondered, do the Stotch parents have their own Pet the Dog moments? I'm not talking about them probing their son for hours on end, because they think it might help with his hallucinations. I was talking about, say, Cartman hiding cats in his attic and not realizing the parallels between that and other events in history. I went back and looked at a couple of episodes, and I noticed that, yeah, there are several instances where the Stotches were kind to Butters, and kind people overall. Not a lot, not even enough to warrant a 40-minute video, but these moments do exist nonetheless. Time to dive in, shall we? The first one I thought about was my future self and me. The parents are worried that their children might try pot in Colorado. This was before the 2010s. So instead of just telling them why it's wrong or shoving an after-school special down their throat, they hire actors to pretend to be their future selves if they took drugs and ruined their lives.
Goodness, he does look a little like Kevin. Yes, and he knows all your family history and every detail of your house, and he's worked up quite a future for your son.
You know, I'm surprised the episode did not point out how stupid it is, because not only does it show they don't trust their children, it's just that it seems super duper expensive. They might not be able to afford to go to college, but at least they won't be cheesing. While most of the episode focuses on Stan's actor, we later learn that Butters is living with an actor too, for quite a while.
Dude, how long has your future self been around? Oh, well, I guess it's been about 4 months now. 4 months? And you never told anybody that you were living with yourself from the future? Nobody asked.
Well, I mean, he's got a point, Stan. And I gotta say, even if I don't like this one plan in particular, that dude really looks like Butters from the future. Stan's actor, he needs a haircut and a couple extra sandwiches. Worse yet, Butters' future self watches Becker, and this is before The Good Place started making the rounds.
My name is T. Becker. The T stands for terrific.
Oh, Butters and Becker. He watched the entire run of that show, hoping that it would get better, and it never did. It had all the right pieces, but it just couldn't put them together. And when it got canceled, he was really bummed out. Not because he liked the show, but because he knew it could be so much better, and now it never would be. And that's what being lied to by your parents is like. It's like Becker. And that's why, when they die, you get a free churro. Out of revenge, Butters hires Cartman to smear crap on the walls.
Butters, we've got... Oh, God, it smells in here. Yeah, well, 300 gallons of poop isn't gonna smell like a garden.
Butters, that's your house. I'm all for revenge. It's just that, you still gotta live there. Maybe you should have done it to, at minimum, your garage or your parents' room, just to show you mean business. And then Butters' parents come home. You'd expect them to ground him, but instead...
Don't you see? This might be our fault.
What? My God, you're right, Linda. The whole future self thing, well, it was a dirty fit.
We're sorry, baby.
Aww. Heck, another example in season 6, nonetheless, was Aspen. The parents have started hanging out together full time because their kids are doing the same, and sitcom rules dictate that they must. And Steve and Chris thinks that the family should get together and go to Aspen. Now, if you know anything about Colorado, you know that ski resorts of any kind are hella expensive. Oh no, my Gen Z personality is making me talk like Cartman. Anyhow, the Stotches were willing to sit through a boring timeshare presentation that went on for days just to give Butters and his friends a dream vacation. They were held against their will, and even the police were in on it, threatening them. Trust me, it's better if you just watch the episode on your own time. True, they did not know the boys had a terrible adventure that turned into a cheesy, cliche teen movie, and Ike french fried when he should have pizzaed, and Stan became Stan Jersh, and they had a bad time. Right, isn't that how they say it? But just the fact that the Stotches were willing to do it is a nice thing for me. Plus, at least it was skiing, not ziplining, or horseback riding, or boating. Weirdly, maybe we could also count the episode Margarine. I know it features some of their worst moments as they try to ground Butters when he's about to jump off a building, and later they lock him in the basement and try to feed him Rachel from Quality Curtains.
Can't I just have some spaghettios?
Oh, because they think he's an unholy demon spawn. But there's no denying that Linda's concern for Butters this time around is real. And honestly, some of it can be a little hard to watch.
No! Don't put him down there! Don't put him down there!
After Butters dies, Linda is inconsolable, and all she does is cry and think about what they could have done. And Steve and Chris doesn't know what to do to make his wife happy. That's when he gets a knock at the door.
Don't bury your son's body at the Indian burial ground, Stotch. The one that's right up over there, behind the Anderson's barn.
Steve and Chris, don't listen to this guy. He slayed the milkman, and then he pressured y'all to slay the UPS guy. Much like an Insecurity, Steve and Chris listens to the old dude, and like an idiot, digs up what he presumes to be Butters' corpse, but it's really a pig.
Come on, Butters. Oh, Butters, smell like bacon.
Figures Cartman was the one who arranged the plan. What better way to mess with Kyle? And buries him in the Native American burial ground. Yes, I know the dude said Indian burial ground.
The Indian burial ground.
That dude is from a different time, and he needs to watch his microaggressions. He's lost in a time warp. When Linda found out, she was not happy about what Steve and Chris did, and for once, she stood up to him. Not stood up and then cowed back into obedience like she did what, say, Paris Hilton, but really totally stood up to him.
Not like this! Not like this. He wouldn't be our son, Stephen.
Speaking of other Butters adjacent episodes, let's not forget the magic bush. Butters and his father have started bonding over playing with a drone, a pastime I'm not allowed to enjoy because Newark has an airport. And also, I think this hotel is next to an airport or some kind of airport school. And when I'm in Newark, the airport mocks me by launching all of their planes when I'm trying to record a video, despite the fact they're apparently not allowed to do it during 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. Specifically the times I normally record. Anyway, Cartman takes advantage of Butters and uses the drone to record Laura Tucker, aka Craig's mom, while she's naked. They discover she's got a shrubbery that would make the Knights of Knee go nee, and Cartman posts the video onto social media because mental gymnastics, what else?
Because Stan saw the video on my phone, alright? If the video is only on my phone, then clearly we did it. If we downloaded it off the internet, then anyone could have done it.
Strangely, despite all evidence to the contrary, Steve and Chris never accuses Butters, despite the fact Butters looks guilty as sin and everybody can tell.
Did you consider that your son might have done that?
No, it's impossible. He's not allowed to fly it without my supervision.
Osimo, another Cartman and Butters episode, did a plot similar to this. Cartman dresses up as the titular character in order to mess with Butters and learn some of his secrets. Now, we know that Linda and Steve and Chris are not the biggest fans of Butters' various personas. If I had to guess, it's because as Inspector Butters, Butters unwittingly saw his father doing inappropriate things and it nearly wrecked the family. But who knows? Remember when Butters was playing pretend in City Sushi and they thought he was gonna be the next Moon Knight? Anyhow, the Stotches are fine letting Cartman and Butters play this time around.
Oh, that's so cute. Did you see Butters and his friend Eric playing robot?
Yes, those boys are quite imaginative. Leave it to them to find a fun way to do the dishes.
And even let Cartman go with Butters to California to see his aunt and uncle. Albeit the uncle is Uncle Bud, and we know from The Return of Chef that Uncle Bud might be affiliated with the Super Adventure Club. Still, the episode that most comes to mind for me is Going Native. In fact, it's what got me to want to write this script. One day, Butters suddenly starts acting like, per his own words, an emo chick on her period.
But what does being Hawaiian have to do with me acting like an emo chick on her period?
No, Butters. Emos think that deep down, they are totally f***ed up. Goths believe that the world is totally f***ed up. It's a huge difference. What you were doing was goth. Only you weren't smoking. You're such a poser.
Wow. Double wow!
There you go, Butters, making me swear. You know that's only something I do in my daily life. Once I log off of this channel, I sound like Ellie from The Last of Us. Sorry, I think I should play a clip just to show you how angry Butters has become.
You guys think Cartman is the only selfish piece of crap at this school?
He was so pissed that he called Cartman by his last name and not his first name. The only other people who do that are adults. Anyhow, Steve and Chris and Linda are called into Principal Victoria's office, where they attempt to lecture Butters to no avail. Rather than ground him, they realize Butters is this way for a reason. He got his first period, not an acute colon infection, and it's clearly going swimmingly. Just saying. I'd play he locked himself in the bathroom. Nah, I'm joking. In truth, Butters isn't from South Park. He was born in Hawaii.
We're from Hawaii?
Only Howleys pronounce it Hawaii, Butters. But those of us from Hawaii...
Fine, you win. It's Hawaii. You know, I'm a tourist, I can't say it. Thereby meaning that Butters' parents lived in a timeshare, or one of those resort communities, and moved to South Park when it was time for him to attend school. Side note, I used to go to Myrtle Beach a lot on vacations during the summer, and we would almost always stay at those condos in Barefoot Landing. Apparently there were people there who lived there all year round. Viewers who do that, what is it like? In truth, Butters is reaching the age of Panunoa. What does that mean? Well, according to Google Translate, it means area in Hawaiian. I told you I can't say it. And in Swahili, it means expand. Good to know. The Stotches ask Principal Victoria to give Butters a leave of absence, so Butters can journey to Hawaii and have his hapanoa. Only after drinking a chichi can Butters finally take control of his weird behavior and be normal again. They give Butters a mahalo rewards card and tell him about all the wonders of Hawaii.
We eat poke that the Safeway provides. And when we've chosen a mate, we marry at the Fern Grotto, as your mother and I did so very long ago.
Honestly, this episode gets relatable when you live in Newark and then go to New York City on day trips. I'm walking here. Albeit, I want to say one little thing before we continue. What the hell happened? Why were you guys normal back then and now you suck a coconut? You're such a swallow, and the only good thing about you is you can beat your wings 40 times per second. However, Steve and Chris says that he and Linda can't make the journey with him. Butters must go on his own.
You must do your walkabout to your homeland, Butters. and you must do it alone.
And now I must turn my back on you.
Best thing he did all episode, if not all show. Imagine how much they'd screw it up. Round of applause for Stephen, Chris, and Linda, guys. Strangely, couldn't we also count the dressage episode, where they attempt to reignite the Cold War mentalities by saying that Butters must defeat a Russian kid whose worst crime is the fact he has no dialogue, and for dinner he eats hamburger helper. They still sell that? You know, I never had that. Only good thing you can say is they don't ground him this time around.
Butters, what the hell is that?
But nothing compares to raisins. Sorry, it's just that you guys say I always forget about this one episode, and now I want nothing more than to rectify it. Butters goes with the boys to the titular restaurant to help cheer Stan up, and on the way, he found Ruth, Gladys, Rosemary, and Irving, and also a hot waitress named Lexus.
Here, we left you a tip already, but here's another $5.
Oh, you are such a sweetie. Come here, you.
Wait, wrong terminology. She's like 10 at most. Butters thinks that Lexus is his girlfriend, not that she's just being nice to him because she wants bigger tips. Undeterred, he tells Steve and Chris and Linda, who are absolutely delighted. Steve and Chris most of all.
You see? I told you he wouldn't turn out gay.
All right, you win.
Okay. He takes his parents to Raisins to meet Lexus, where they are appropriately freaked out a restaurant like that is allowed to function. I mean, really, how do they make money or stay open? What are the hours like? Do they only open from 4 to 9 and then open all day on the weekends? And they try to convince a Raisins waitress to give up her ways.
You should be learning a skill.
I had a cancer sore on my lip once, and it hurt so bad.
Oh, never mind. I think Raisins might be the perfect place for you.
Well, I mean, if she's cool with it and she makes good money doing it, it must be a good thing. Thoroughly convinced, the Stotches try to tell Butters the truth, in a way that's pretty sweet of them.
These girls pretend to be interested in you because they know you'll give them tips.
Women know that they can make men do anything by flirting, and some girls, like these, turn that into a profession.
Butters doesn't listen until Lexus herself says they're not an item.
We are not boyfriend and girlfriend.
What? Lexus, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't want to be together anymore?
I'm sorry, sweetie.
But strangely, the Stotches don't ground Butters at all, or say they even will. Heck, maybe they did it off screen. I just choose to believe they let him be. Come on. Getting embarrassed in public is worse than getting grounded. However, there is one time Butters' grounding was actually for a good reason. One time, I fully agree. And that would be franchise prequel, especially considering life nowadays. Butters, under his Professor Chaos persona, starts hiring people to spread misinformation about Coon and friends on social media. Albeit, despite how terrible his work is, Butters is a pretty good boss. The work's not hard, and he's fair to all of his employees.
You'll find the hours very reasonable, and I'm working on getting full health and dental for all employees.
Makes sense. Butters did run his own kissing company for a little while. He has leadership experience. By the episode's end, Steve and Chris finds out what Butters did, and does the best grounding ever. He drags him to St. Petersburg, you know, the capital of Russia, which is a 10-hour flight, 16 with connecting flights, and he takes him to the office of Vladimir Putin. And Steve and Chris scolds the both of them.
Good job teaching our children, that's all that matters. Just because of the way to cause chaos in a town or disrupt an entire country doesn't mean you go and do it, does it?
Before doing something important.
I hope you're both very satisfied with the damage you've caused because you're both grounded!
I take back what I said. We need Steve and Chris on the front lines. We need him. Well... Wait, I'm forgetting an episode? Ugh, I always do this. Last week it was Tapped Out, this week it's Die Hippie Die. You know, it's better I remember now rather than when I'm editing. I hate when that happens. In Die Hippie Die, a bunch of hippies come to South Park to have a music festival, and they infest the town like a bunch of termites. So much so that Cartman has to play Ghostbusters, and, well, more like Ghostbusters meets Dale Gribble, and exterminate any hippies he he can find without the use of poisons. However, they aren't going away willingly, so he enacts another plan. Make a drill to take down the hippies during the music festival. He puts together a crack team of experts to man the drill, including a black guy who has to sacrifice himself and die first.
Anyone who meets the qualifications. Oh, I know. How about...
Yeah, I get it. Fine.
Look, no offense, this was the last time Isaac Hayes talked as Chef. If we discount the return of Chef, that sucks. And the last person he needs is an engineer, who just happens to be Linda.
I'm your engineer.
Honey, no!
I have to do it, Stephen.
Aw, makes up for when you tried to unalive both yourself and your son, right, Linda? No, it doesn't. Okay, are those all the moments? We good? Okay. Anyway, as you can see, despite being the worst parents in South Park, the Stotches can have their good moments. Does it make up for what they did or are currently doing? No, not at all. Still, this was a fun video to make. Did not expect so many examples. Anyway, as I write this from Connecticon, waiting for the Beavis and Butthead photo session. Bye!